All
Yeah,
right, well, welcome back to Day to Day with Greg Michelson. I'm joined by a great friend of mine, Satadru Sengupta. We met years and years ago at Data Robot. Welcome.
thank you so much, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's really good to have you. So we haven't actually chatted in a long time. It'd be great to catch up and stuff like that. Why don't you start out by kind of giving us a little bit of background and kind of how you got to where you are today, and then we'll talk a bit about what you're up to and so on.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think we met in 2015. So I started talking to DataRobot end of 2014, and by the time I joined, I think it was Q1 or Q2 of 15, and you were already there. We were the first batch of what Jeremy and Tom called customer-facing data scientist, and I think these days people call it forward deployed engineer and things like that. People would be working with customers and clients and embed their solution into the companies. So before joining DataRobot, I come from a data science background. I studied mathematics statistics in school, originally from India, came here in 2004, and started my career with larger companies. Was very fortunate to start at Deloitte, and then Liberty Mutual, and then AIG in New York City. At AIG, we got to work with amazing folks, and I kind of knew Jeremy when he was at Travelers. My wife was an intern under him and loved it. And then I talked to him when I was also moving to AIG. I had offered from Travelers. And then at AIG, I was working with Wayne Zhang, who was the top data scientist at Kaggle at that time. So we had incredible folks over there. Then Wayne joined DataRobot. And my very last project at AIG was automated machine learning. So I had to build models for 200 underwriting divisions at commercial insurance part of AIG. And so put together 4 computers, and each of them had 4 cores, and ran just one algorithm, GBM, and just did a parallel loop using R, and kind of was able to. So all those 200 underwriting division has different data set. That was the challenge, but did not really change different algorithm. And but
What
understood.
were the models? What were you predicting?
So we are predicting the which are the more valuable insurance submissions. So submission prioritization. So
Mm.
AIG is one of the largest underwriters in the world in commercial insurance, and they get a lot of insurance proposals from the brokers of like Aon and other company, and they just don't know which one they should underwrite. So, but they do have the data that will tell them that historically you underwrote these ones, and this one was good and this one was bad. So using that data, we can predict where their underwriters should put their time, and that's known as submission prioritization model. And like there are different other proposals that you can use a mixed model and non-machine learning models to do the same kind of things. How to build the 200 underwriting division is the bigger challenge. We're not just building one model on one data set. We have 200 different data generating process. So how you can model that, right? So that worked out. And truth be told, I did not actually understand what they were doing before that. But once I built that project, I understood, oh my God, if I can do this one model and this do parallel and everything, it will be everywhere. So that is when I actually truly appreciated what DataRobot was doing. Reached out to Jeremy, and then I think reached out to Wayne first, and then Jeremy, and talked to everyone in December. Razi was the first person. Razi is one of the earliest at DataRobot, and Sergey, and our common usual suspect. So I think when we joined, it was still pretty much less than, when I was interviewed, it was less than 25. And by the time I joined, I think it was still less than 40, 50 people. One of my highest, I worked at in Wall Street. AIG was in Wall Street. Liberty Mutual was in the financial district of Boston. But my still favorite memory is Chatham Street office of Boston, DataRobot, right? Right? I think Fenway Market or something. Like the downstairs was the bar, and the middle floor was the law office, and the third floor was all of us. And people are hitting it, everyone, because we are so kind of
Packed
close to
in
each
tight,
other.
yeah.
Back diet, and so it's like unbelievable memory. And yeah, so that's pretty much DataRobot taught me 3 things. So I already learned at Fortune 100 company how to navigate in a complex organization, make things happen in a complex thousands, 60,000 people organization, right? But Data Robot taught me three things. The first one is that what is a startup and what is the meaning of building under tremendous uncertainty. I was scared, like, that no one would be closing anything in the first month. You remember that, Greg, very well. And like, we'll be running after the same accounts. Like we got one account, Sears, and they're not understanding what we're doing. AIML was not everywhere at that time. So learned really that what is building in as a startup, tremendous learning. And then the second thing was like really horizontal exposure. I was always in insurance. I was always in a data scientist. So within insurance, I got a lot of exposure already, commercial, consumer, etc. But never really got to see healthcare problem, banking problem, or working with sales team, and tremendous learning, just working with different people and people coming from different thinking. That was tremendously helpful. And the third thing is that, like, kind of really Data Robot was very cross-functional. We had, of course, our functional focus, but we'll be working with marketing, we'll be working with engineers, we'll be working with different kind of customers. That was the diversity across, like, whatever we're doing was very enriching. So Jeremy already knew when I joined Data Robot. I told him that I want to start a company, and Jeremy told me, yeah, you'll be like, you can do that very easily. And he was right. And that training ground was really helpful. 4 years later, I just started my company. I jumped into it. At that time, it was Hello's Insurance, the original idea that I thought about, which became Fast Forward, how we build infrastructure for home services industry. Home service industry as kind of a mathematics we call open problem. So home service industry as an open problem. Homeowners struggle all the time how to find high quality providers and how to get a job done with reliability. That means 100 out
Wait,
of
you're going to have to give us some more detail.
absolutely.
Providers of what?
So home services industry is like one of the largest industry in this country. So American homes is, I think, second largest asset class, $46 trillion asset value. We love our home. And if we own a home, we have to really do many different things in our home. It could be a small handyman work or put Christmas light on the roof, or it could be HVAC servicing, or HVAC just stopped working. You cannot predict when
Gotcha.
you need something to run your home. Some of us are more handy, some of us are less handy, but even if you're handy, you need to spend around 1 to 2% of your home value every year on repairing and maintaining the home, right? And that entire marketplace is very inefficient for two reasons. Number one is that it's very difficult for homeowners to find high quality pros. In the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we can find any pros, any plumber, any handyman, any HVAC. That's there, like we can find them, but there is no guarantee they are high quality, right? So, and then the second thing is a more interesting problem. Greg, you also have a statistical background like me. The process variance of home service is very high. What do I mean by that? When we go to Starbucks and ask for a coffee, uh, like, like there is not much process variance. Like there is a very systematic process of making up, kind of Americano, and they will make it, they will give it to us. And that process is very low process variance, cannot go wrong. Home
Coffee's
service
coffee.
industry, extremely high process variance. Like it can go wrong in many different ways. Like, kind of, it's extremely high. And we have seen again and again, when we bring automation has this magical, aspect that we all love to celebrate. But automation is also very boring. It kind of minimizes the process variance in a systematic way, like parallel parking, what Tesla is doing with parallel parking. Like, because it kind of streamline everything and simplify and eliminate all those complex nuances. And that needed to happen in the home service industry. And that is what we have been doing, really wrote down, kind of what is the meaning of 5-star quality service in home services industry. And let's write it down for the homeowners and write it down for service providers, because we have 6 million independent service providers in this country. They are very good in what they do in terms of the handyman, but their back office or the communication or running a quotation, running an invoice or sending a payment, everything is very, very old school and very unsystematic. So we are basically building the infrastructure to power them. And as a return, homeowners are also getting amazingly delightful experience in running the home services. So again, wrapping this up, two problems on the homeowner side. That is, how do I find and know that I'm working with a high quality pro? So we are making that happen. And then once I find a pro, once I say, okay, I will work with Hector or work with Angel, how we get the job done with like reliability and delightful experience. For service provider side in the market, we are making sure that their homeowners can book them, rebook them, refer them anytime, so they don't have to worry about growing their business. But also they're saving a lot of time thanks to those automated workflows and things like that. So that's what we have been doing. First, we started doing that with Dobby, and I will talk more about it. We shut down Dobby about a year ago. And then we started a new company, Nimbus, and we are just taking a different approach, knowing a few things. And we'll get more into it, but let me stop here. Like that's kind of the overall background and what was my journey so far.
Got it. Yeah, that's fascinating. So you do it's kind of a matchmaking idea. Yeah,
It is
like
a matchmaking idea. So Thumbtack and Angie's, they are TrustRabbit. They pioneered that matchmaking, and they did Thumbtack. Angie's was founded in 1995. Thumbtack is also a 20+ years company. So every company is a product of their time. So these companies did what we call they brought this industry from offline to internet, but they make money once you have that matchmaking, right? So let's say Greg Michelson is the homeowner and you submitted a job on Thumbtack, Angie's, or TrustRabbit. Your contract would be sold to 5 different providers, and that's it. Thumbtack made money, right? $50 per piece. And they're done. They're not going to make sure the job is done, or like they're not going to get into the workflow itself. And that's the difference. So we are not stopping there. We're not going to give you 5 pros. Yeah, you can select one pro, one job, one pro idea, and we're not going to make money on on that transaction, on that matchmaking. We'll be making money when the job done with 5-star quality. That's the big difference here.
So how do you make money?
We in this new company Nimbus, we make money as a subscription from service providers. So believe that if you can power service providers with the proper architecture, which is an autonomous system that is managing their entire front office and entire back office. Front office is where they advertise their business and homeowners can book, rebook, refer them. And back office is everything from that booking to quotation, invoice, communication, payment, picture upload, before and after, and review management and everything. So
You
that's
handle the payments as well.
yeah, payment, absolutely. Payment is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Well,
And
that's fascinating.
yeah,
Hey,
at Bobby, we completed more than 10 millions in payment. And like that is around 10,000 plus jobs. And then on Nimbus, so far, we already crossed 100 jobs in summer, right after summer in fall. And yeah, so we are very close to 500 plus jobs.
I'd love to hear about kind of what you learned from Dobby to what is the new one, Nimbus?
Right. So Dobby was the first startup, and
It was your first startup?
it was my first startup, and my co-founder at Dobby, she worked at WeWork. She was there for 5 years. Alex Fontova. So she ran. She was a director of operations, managing 14 buildings in New York. And so she was coming from the operations side. I had the general management background at Data Robot and data science background, and really this system engineering and the process thinking background that helped. Our biggest learning was we became better, faster, cheaper operators, right? And that was kind of what we took from Dobby. And of course, one of the core aspects of great founders is that they know the industry inside out. I was scared at at Dobby because I was moving from insurance and completely entering a completely new industry. And initially, it was scary because not only I knew insurance industry knew me, so I had to give away, cannibalize that, eminence in the industry and everything. But I understood that it's very portable. The way insurance industry also operationally extremely complex. We cannot just build a regression model. We have to think about regulation and all of other things, right? That helped. So Dobby really, the first thing is that better, faster, cheaper founder and operator. Second piece, that deep understanding of the home services industry and our customers, right? We were very fortunate to build a marketplace, and it was, you can still go to App Store and see Dobby. It is the highest rated home services app on the App Store. So we got to meet thousands of homeowners and thousands of providers and learned a lot from the users, which is the most precious thing in any industry. Third thing, why Dobby did not work, there are 2 elements in it. We were very profitable in our cohort of homeowners where they were in the low interest rate. Anyone who paid 3% or lower mortgage rate, because they had way higher disposable income. What really happened, between 2021, 22, and the years after, is that the cost of homeownership went up significantly, very quickly. And there are four pillars of cost of homeownership. One is mortgage, which is non-negotiable. And number two is property tax, non-negotiable. Property insurance, kind of non-negotiable. And utility, those are also, you cannot negotiate with them. Third one is the renovation and maintenance and everything. So that bucket got squeezed. And we kind of started seeing, although we are profitable within the cohort of low mortgage rate, but as we try to grow with these new homeowners, they are not really sitting on a lot of money. We can go into detail, but the same homeowners will be paying $1,000 to $2,000 more every month. That's a lot of money, right? So that is kind of was the biggest driver of we could stay profitable in DC market with our cohort of homeowners with a low mortgage, but that was not the goal. We raised $6.2 million from incredible investors, and our goal was to really grow fast and build a venture scale business. We did not see a path forward of that. And then, Dobby was run by automation software, but a lot changed in the from 12.6 software to agent native, software architecture. So we wanted to move in there also. So those are the two reasons why we closed it, and but with those learnings and so on. One of the things that I will say and finish here, one of the very interesting learning we had from Dobby, we should think about, as a founder, we should think about the business model when things are going right, not when things are going wrong. So one of the things that we should thought more of when in 21, 22, we are growing fast in DC and getting those incredible reviews and see a profitable path, really knowing that what would happen if the interest rate goes very high, very fast? What would happen if inflation goes very high, very fast? Somehow, we should have done that, and we could have moved, did something differently there. So really thinking about the business model, even if everything is going well, really do that exercise every time, once in a while, or pretty regularly. That would be my, one of the learnings.
And why'd you call it Dobby? Is it after the Harry Potter elf? Or
Yeah, exactly. It is the Harry Potter health. You're right. So we had our vertical AI software that we built to run our entire operations was Gryffindor, and our bot was Owler, and so we basically took different names from Harry Potter. Nimbus is also from Harry Potter. Nimbus is
the broom.
the
Yeah.
broom.
Yeah, the Nimbus 2000.
Yeah, Nimbus 2000. Yeah, we just wanted to choose a character that would not die this time. Or
So sad. I remember reading that in book 6, Dobby getting spoiler alert, I guess, but
yeah,
God, just weeping. Poor Dobby.
right. But anyway, Dobby was so it was heartbreaking for everyone, but our customers, our pros, Dobby was very smile generating name, and everyone loved every time. And somehow we this is our ICP, ideal customer profile, is the Harry Potter generation, so they immediately understood, and it was fun.
That's fun. How has the whole rise of LLMs and agentic stuff impacted the way that you guys are doing stuff at Nimbus?
Sure,
Or has it?
absolutely. So even it started impacting us at Dobby. Back in 2021, we understood we had enough data to see different patterns. And one thing we saw, the most common question that a homeowner would ask us, how much something would cost, right? So home services industry is full of unknowns, just like insurance industry. People don't know how much something costs. Even service providers do not know how much something costs. You can still hear me, right?
Yes, I hear
All
you.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the most common question was how much something cost. That is 2021. We discovered that. So we added that feature in the platform that people would be asking us, hey, before I kind of look for a provider, can you tell me how much this would cost? The first thing happened when in 22 September, I think ChatGPT was published, it got released. And by 2023 January, we released this thing called Check the Price. So it was the first LLM implementation where you can ask any, we already productized it, but now we automated it thanks to ChatGPT. You can ask the price, and that it was so popular. It was the most popular feature on the platform, and we were not spending any money like before to actually answer that question, because when homeowners are asking that question, we're not making it. It's not a revenue generating event, right? But right, so that's the idea. So and we built on that. Not only will be giving you the price, but then we'll recommend you, these are the pros who can do it for you. This was the most popular feature. We took
Kind of
that
like
and
a kind of a sidecar, like a giveaway to
Yeah,
get people
exactly.
invested.
Yeah, and a low commitment way. Because anytime you write things like consumer is fascinating, Adobe, Nimbus, all of these are consumer businesses. So what you say to consumers matter a lot. Like, am I when you like one of the reasons why we buy from Amazon, because return is free and return is like no one is going to ask any question. It's a no question return. Same thing with home services. If I click this book the pro, I want to know that I'm going to get a price. This would be fair. Informed purchase decision matter a lot. So check the price was a huge level set, because it was not just telling people that how much something would cost, but what needs to be done. So homeowners do not know. I'm not that handy. You are very handy. I remember you built carpentry and you are a maker. But if you're not, then like you just don't know what needs to be done. So you'll be always thinking maybe someone is cheating, like someone is not fair. But that it was reducing those informed unknowns from the thing. So that was the first consumer facing features that we built, and we built on that. And Nimbus also, we
Mhm.
just do it in a different way. Nimbus is way more advanced because it is the agent native architecture and everything. So
What
one
do
of
you mean by that?
it is like so when we built, the Adobe was software heavy, but we build software for ourselves, right? So like our entire design of Gryffindor, which would be running the operations for us, we can see everything, the entire interaction between service pro and homeowners, from the time of booking to all the way to 5-star review. We are operating that software, and everything was architected according to that. There would be a customer success CSM, customer success manager, who would be running this software, right? And the websites were built like human would be reading it, right? Like but now it's no more. Like we are designing everything that an agent will do it, or things will be running automatically. So that's in a very layman term. Like we can go in the deeper, like how we design that, but that is in the highest level. That is the idea. So if you look at, we build a website for our providers. They are not built on fancy, like kind of beautiful picture or anything. They're very structured. They're very kind of very easy for an agent to come and understand that. Very easy for ChatGPT to
Mhm.
scan that and make it part of the AI search and everything. So those are kind of decisions that we have taken ground up, and that was a huge advantage to build ground up at Nimbus. And yeah, and then one of the core use cases we are doing is automated generation of quotation and invoice. So service pros spend a lot of time and they lose a lot of customers for two reasons: because they're delayed in sending the quotation, and number two, their quotation is incomplete. But we are solving that problem with AI. So it takes literally second right now. So when they're with customer, they can send a quotation using our AI generated quotation, and they can edit it. They do not want to lose control, right? This is a very interesting group of customers. They want to have full control. So whenever we are implementing AI, we are also giving them the full opportunity that you can review and change the price and change the, like, add one more labor, one more materials, and do that. Yeah. So those are the use cases that we're doing. Everything else is workflow automation, good old RPA, just powered by an LLM on the back end.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the prices that you give people, those are just like estimated, like based on whatever is in the LLM?
That's right. It is based on LLM, but insurance, like insurance quotation, home service is also very location specific. So what something would cost in New York is different than DC, different than Boston, and different in San Francisco. So what we do, we use different. I will not get into exactly what API we are using, but we are running some Google search before, like understanding some, like getting some fine tuning data basically before we get into there. We are still running it on the server. We are not running it locally. But eventually, once we have enough of quotation, we'll be fine tuning with our own data. That's the idea.
Hmm, got it. Now, the startup space for B2B software, I imagine is different, much different than the B2C type stuff that you're working on now. Zerv, yeah, I don't know. Zerv is I guess more of a B2D kind of play. So like our users are data scientists, data analysts, people who are interacting with data using code, basically, right? And so we have like a free product, and people can sign up, and they get a certain number of credits every month. And one of the things that we really value is providing something at no cost to the user that's valuable and useful. And if they love it and they like it, then they can upgrade and get more credits and do more things and stuff like that. So that's kind of our philosophy. Is this the same for you guys? Do you how is the B2C space different from what we saw at Data Robot when we were doing the whole enterprise sales kind of thing?
Terrific question. So what you are describing is try and buy as opposed to will be showing you the demo and like all that. The biggest difference what we saw in Datadog was a classic B2B enterprise software and all that. So what is the advantage of classic? It's not easy. It's an advantage. There are tailwind and headwinds. Like the advantage is that we had a dedicated team that would be listening to our pitch. There is a dedicated budget that would be like, that we can access. Of course, you have to navigate who is paying, who is using, who is protesting not to have data robot and all that. But there is a dedicated mind share, like, that want to listen to the new tools and new proposals. When we go to service providers or when you're trying to sell to homeowners, we don't operate like that. We don't have today is my demo day. Like, I'll be listening to new tools in my life. So the only way to get in is try and buy. You
Mm.
just figure out, and another way to think about is that you cannot separate go-to-market GTM and the product anymore. So you have to really embed your go-to-market inside the product somehow, really.
Mhm.
So you can like give the product to your target users, and then they can use it and they can see the value themselves and then they can buy. How do we exactly do that at Nimbus? We scan through the entire internet we first identify who are the top local providers. And let's say we found that Greg is one of the top HVAC person in Charlotte. You don't live in Charlotte anymore, but let's say Charlotte. And we'll find that because your data is publicly available from Contact, from TrustRabbit, from Angie's, and from other sources. So we do that systematically. And then we accumulate all those reviews, we aggregate all those reviews, we build a beautifully structured website where we make the booking, rebooking, referring you the fastest in the industry. And then we give it to you for free. Why? Because the marginal cost of creating one more website is zero to us. Like we have
Yes.
built a 3D printer that we can do this for any providers anywhere in the country. So that's a huge advantage of automation, right? I mean, historically, you need three designers and like, multiple engineers to do all of these things and so on. So that's how we do it, try and buy. And we can do that because of that 3D printer that we have built inside.
Gotcha. So you give people a free month or something like that to give it a
Free
go, and
month,
then
yeah, exactly. And then you
whatever.
see the
Yeah.
value and then ask your homeowners, are they finding it easy to book you? And once you agree, you are in like $200 per month. That is how we are starting it. We started with independent providers, so that's a $200 per month. But once you go to the mid-market and the larger players, we'll be increasing that monthly subscription.
And how do you get people to see it? I don't imagine that many small businesses are like, gee, what I really need is this play. Like, are there competitors in the space or
There are companies. Yes,
yet?
absolutely. So, like, I mean, the good news is that their phone numbers are available. So, real estate agents, service providers, these people want their phone number to be known. So, it's
Mhm.
not, we don't have to run a lot of research to find their phone numbers, but they're visible. You can discover them. They're
Yeah.
fragmented, but they're
Uh-huh.
discoverable. So, that's the first good news. The second good news is that people feel a sense of pride when we build a website for them. It looks good, it looks authentic, and it is easy. And we can easily compare on Thumbtack, you need 20 different clicks and you are competing with 5 different pros. 3 of them are low quality. Your pricing and everything would be like, kind of,
Mhm.
your profit margin will be squeezed. Here it is your independent website that you own, you control, take it. And that's basically like, kind of the idea. We do have competitors and how we are totally different. You don't need anything to generate a website in 2026. We like generative AI is doing that. Our website is only 20% generative. 80% like it is essentially like kind of deep automation that is scanning through internet and millions of data and everything and creating this very structured website. And then every review we get, we use generative AI to creating an article. So that's the big difference. We see a common mistake that people who are not coming from in this industry, they are doing. They're just building a beautiful website, right? But that website is not highly converting because homeowners want to hear from other homeowners. That means all that they care about is tell me how did you do something like this and what other homeowners are talking about. So our spotlight is nothing but reviews. It's not fancy like landscaping has this beautiful landscaping picture. No, that's like generative AI would be doing that. We don't do that. We use generative AI, but it's generating articles and SEO optimized and AI optimized article for every review we get. We take that review, take the job description, take the before and after picture, create an article automatically and things like that. That's
What
our.
what kind of article? What?
It's like, so what you really service providers, like, there are high quality pros and there are low quality pros in the industry. You do not want to work with low quality pros. That's easy. Even with high quality pro, what is difficult is that how do I know you are high quality pros? So every 100 job they do, they're only collecting 20 reviews, because you make writing review is so difficult and you don't advertise them. And review is your biggest marketing asset. So we basically build our entire business on this philosophy that let's collect every single reviews. And the
Yep.
same philosophy is there in charity. Everyone wants to give money on charity, but we make it difficult for giving money to charity. But if you make it easy, if you make charity at the point of sales, that's why we see that in the grocery stores, then people will pay money. People will give money to charity. Same idea with review. Make it easy for homeowners to write a review, right? And then they write review. And then we create that article in a way that it's not just SEO optimized, it is actually AI optimized. So those articles are written as a first person. So ChatGPT give preference to first person expert written articles. So we created that structure in the back end in a way that it is writing those articles, optimizing for ChatGPT will pick this up and so on.
First person is in the homeowner?
The provider.
The provider. Okay.
I
Gotcha.
got this job request from Greg Michelson is a homeowner, and I got this request from him other day for water filtration system for his home. And oh my God, this was so fun to work with Greg. Let me share a little bit more about this job. And then before and after picture, how much you spend and what is the water filtration and blah, blah, blah. And the entire thing is written on AI. AI, we are kind of keeping it as a fun. AI is choosing Greg incredible pictures. That is just funny. And sometimes we kind of stop it, but these articles are very valuable because it is giving them a lot of exposure.
Right. Got it. And so are you just calling these providers up and saying, hey, this is a service that's available?
Yeah.
Or
Cold calling works like magic still. Cold calling, text message, and that's it. Hey, we built this website for you. Why? Because all of your reviews you are one of the top people, but your reviews are all over the internet. We aggregated all of them. Now we have your own website with all of your reviews from Thumbtack, TrustRate, NGs, everything in the same place. And yeah, do you like it? What do you want to change? These are all editable websites and things like that. Yeah.
and do they have access to change these things, or is it
They have access to change this thing, or they can send it to us. So I will get a little bit more into it. So our domain is hirenimbus.com, right? Why? Because you cannot sell technology to service providers. You have to sell outcome to service providers. So our pitch to them, just hire us to do your backend. You are the only workforce in this country which is doing both blue collar and white collar. Why don't we take care of all the things back office, all the things front office, and you do the thing that you do the best. So you save time, you save 1 hour every day. Either you spend that 1 hour with your family, or you do 1 or 2 more jobs in that time. That's it. That's it. Hire Nimbus to do your everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's adoption look like? Is it going great?
It
You
is
said
going
you
well. It is going well, but this is still an artificial adoption because we have a head start because we know the customers and we have a tremendous contact in service providers. So the true
because of
adoption
Dobby.
because of Dobby, exactly. Because of Dobby, we know this industry so well and all that. So nothing is free-lunch, but there is a built-in trust with us, and they know that we always help them, and we basically build, like service providers build their business ground up with Dobby, so they know us very well. So that is an advantage. True thing would be one of the biggest difference with Dobby and Nimbus after 4 or 5 years, because we are kind of like the old school marketplace and like that middle layer. We were in DC and San Francisco, only 2 markets, and DC being the large market. Nimbus is in 20 markets. Like we launched it in multiple markets at less than 6 months. And now we are slowly taking one market and going at what we call deep adoption, like, really visiting Austin, visiting Atlanta, and going to Charlotte and Raleigh. And that's what we're doing. So that's a huge difference. So the adoption is quite different in how we define adoption. So the true adoption is, can we scale? Because our reason to stop Dobby is questioning the business model, and because it cannot really grow fast. So we have to prove to ourselves we can grow fast with Nimbus business model. So that's so far so good. We are doing that. That's why we launched 20 markets and so on. So that's been the adoption. It's so far so good. And right now it's still pre-product market fit, if I've been honest.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What's the hardest problem to solve here? Or talk to us about some of the hard problems, maybe not the hardest, but what's hard?
Right. So there are 2 really hard problems. The first problem is, you asked this question a little ago, what are your competitors? Is there any tool in this industry? This industry is actually full of tools, point solution. People coming out of school, I'm building AI receptionist for service providers. Service providers do not want to want AI to talk to their customers. It's scary for them, right? So this industry is full of point solution. In every batch of YC, like you will see at least 5 point solution for home services industry. So service providers are getting lots of calls. So that's like, a very big challenge. So that's why this try and buy works like magic, and speaking their language works. And so we basically have testimonials from service providers who are working with us, and you have to lead with those user generated content to get their attention, because getting their attention is difficult. And they have some bad experience with Thumbtack and previous generation of marketing arbitrage lead generation company, because they exploited service providers. When you sell the same job to 5 different pros, 4 of them are not making money but spending money, right? So they have bad experience with technology companies. So that's a big challenge. That's I would call like that. This first element, that go to market and getting their attention, is the bigger challenge. The second one is all like really deeply understand the workflow, understanding the nuance of the home services workflow, what you are very familiar with because of your banking experience, insurance experience, that you have to be a subject matter expert. And it's not just churn problem. It's not just hospital readmission problem that that's a superficial use cases. But when you go inside an industry, you have to deeply understand the users and the workflow. So
Hmm.
I would consider that as a deep challenge. And that is where also our moat, because we spent 6 years in this industry, and we deeply understand the users and the deep workflow. We run a home services company, so we basically know what needs to happen to get a 5-star quality and things like that. So these are the two challenges, what we have.
Fascinating. What's next? What's the next thing on the roadmap for you guys? How are
Right.
you?
So yeah. So right now, really what we are doing, there are two elements in it, and two core insight. You cannot sell a point solution to service providers, and homeowners are also not going to buy a point solution, right?
What do you
So
mean by a point solution?
So let's say we talked about check the price. So what if I have a tool that would just tell me what is the cost of a home service, right? For a
I need
landscaping
to
or
replace my water heater. Right.
I need to
That's what I
replace my
mean.
water heater. So you can build it and have some fun in the first few months, but then ChatGPT, people will realize, oh, I don't need this. I can do this with ChatGPT or Claude or anything else. So,
Hmm.
and then on the service provider side, if you build point solution, they are duct taping right now 5, 6, 7 different solution. It is adding to their complexity, not really solving any problem. So the first thing what we have been doing, we are actually doing the entire workflow. You talked about payment, not just payment, booking, rebooking, and generating quotation, whole communication. Home services is not like Uber. You don't just click a button, get a car. You have to talk a lot with providers, and homeowners need to talk to each other and understand the problem and so on. So how we have the in-app chat, that just works. You can upload video, upload pictures and things like that. And then all of that. So we basically automated the entire workflow. And there is a continuous work to be done there. But that is the most important thing we did. However, once we do the full workflow automation, you have to decouple them. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say we're running payment, but if we force the service providers that in order to do the payment, you have to use Nimbus for booking, you have to use
Right.
Nimbus for quotation,
Sure.
then it is not a good idea. So
Yep.
people should be able to, I just want to use Nimbus for payment. So we are now decoupling all of these things, and that's a product problem. So you
Yes.
have to be still having a delightful experience and capture all the data and everything. So that's what we're doing. And the next big step is that all of us are right now selling, like Alex and I both are selling. So really sell this product to providers. Our goal is to have 200 customers in the next 100 days. So 200 paid customers. We have around 50 customers right now. We just started, we went to Texters and finished Texters in the mid-December. And yeah, so if we get 200 customers, that is 40,000 MRR.
So the company's only a month old.
No. Company is, no. We completed Texters in December, but we started in around summer. So June and July is when we started. Yeah. It's more than 6 months.
Gotcha. And it's just you and your co-founder?
No, we have 6 people team. So,
Wow.
so we have 2 engineers, 3 engineers, and then so Jeremy really helped me here. Jeremy helped me in many ways, but this was a one big help. So when we started
Jeremy Achin,
our Jeremy
right? The
Achin from
founder of Data Robot.
founder of Data Robot, Jeremy Achin. That's right. So Jeremy, when I started Dobby, Jeremy got me connected with our Ukraine team over there, and I built up my engineering team in Ukraine. when I
Hmm.
started Doggy, and that was a huge advantage. And I continue with them. Like we have now deep relationship. I've been to Ukraine before COVID, like 6 or 7 times. So yeah,
Hmm.
so we built. Alex and I started Nimbus, and then two of our operations team members joined from Dobby. But the engineering team we rebuilt, and we have incredible team. Renata does our design, then Ivan and Tamano Kurete are running our engineering and Fortune, and then we have Bothana, Alex, and I. Like that is the team.
Awesome. And how about funding? Have you raised?
Oh yeah, so we're keeping the pre-seed undisclosed the amount, but we raised incredible from incredible investors. So our largest investor in the pre-seed round is Chris Langford, who founded Lowe's Ventures, and so he started his fund and like he invested, and then Progression Fund with the TikTok early employees and early operators, and they started a company called Musically, and then Musically was acquired by TikTok. So Matt Lee is the lead investor there, and Progression was our third largest investors in Dobby, so they came back. And then Texters, I started my founding journey with Texters, and Texters came back and invested in Nimbus. And then Mark Aritha was the first check at Dobby, our Mark Aritha from Data Robot sales
Yes.
team. And Mark Mark also the first check at Nimbus. So Mark continued. And yeah, and all the Dobby investor will own 10% of Nimbus. Nimbus is not taking anything from Dobby, but without our founding journey at Dobby, there is no Nimbus. Like we learned so
Sure.
much. And yeah,
Sure.
so that's we call it founder aligned equity.
Hmm. Hmm. Huh. Well, that's amazing. Satadru, sounds like you're doing some amazing stuff. It's hirenimbus.com.
Yes, hirenimbus.com.
Awesome. Awesome. How about personally? What you got coming up this year? You going on vacation anywhere? You got any exciting plans for the year?
Sure, absolutely. So me and my wife Aparna, we live in Washington D.C. So Washington D.C. Metro, we live in Alexandria, Virginia, very close to Mount Vernon. Definitely make time to come here, Greg. It's beautiful, and we have been here for the last 11 years. There was overlap also when Jeremy was here during Data Robot Public Market, and when we had a lot of business with the government back during COVID time. So at
Hmm.
that time we were staying in the D.C. area. Now we're in the Virginia. Just came back from a really good time off in India, and we also went to Thailand and Singapore in our way. So yeah, so everything is going well. Personal life is going absolutely well. My wife just became a partner at Bettswhite Economic Consulting. She studied economics. She has a PhD in economics, and she works at antitrust practice over there. So yeah, so that's going well. And she joined Bettswhite, I think, 2015. So it's really good progress so far. And she got to work on some amazing stuff. Like one of the biggest case was Amazon Prime membership. That was the highlight last year. So they were involved in that. And
What was it was a case, like a
it
class
was a case.
action thing?
Seemingly, Amazon Prime made people Amazon Prime members without giving enough information to the customers. Like you are just opting for faster shipping without realizing that you just opted for monthly subscription now on. And they called it internally Project Euclid because Project Iliad, because it was so complicated that the whole how company makes things uh, difficult for customer to cancel their subscription, and they
Yes.
made it. Yeah, so they call it Project Iliad because he'd be reading a epic to as a customer to cancel it. Anyway, so Department of Justice kind of put that case hey, you cannot do that, and that is a very seminal case because a lot of company kind of follow that kind of marketing technique. One of the people, one of the companies I respect a lot is HubSpot. Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah, the founders. Dharmesh Shah is a big proponent of customer success and how to make customers successful, and he talks about it to make canceling things easy. Like if you can get customers signed in one click, you should be able to you should have an option to cancel the subscription in one click, right? So
Hmm.
so that's a very big part. Be confident that if people are it's a very sustainable way to do business. So anyways,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of how these things
I
are
like
connected.
that. It's kind of a don't be evil kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
this is a big fun part of going back to work again. Kind of consumer companies are so beautiful because of that. You talk to human. In many ways, enterprise also we talk to human these days. But you are not selling to corporations. You are selling to users. Like you said, you guys are selling to data scientists, data engineers, and But really understanding bringing that humanity in the selling process is very very important in both ways.
Well, I live out in rural Nevada, so I don't think I could be hiring any Nimbus professionals if I need something done on my house. But do you have plans to go out to smaller markets? Is that
We
something that can be done in an automated way?
we have to learn more about it, like, so what we have seen in the, like, a very good analogy here is that you have all these modern real estate companies, brokerage or platforms like Compass or Open Door, and you'll see that they're always staying with those major markets, right? So um, if I just have to give you an answer, I don't see that will be at every corner of, like, kind of US, like, in America. But like, if you really take a spectrum, like, top real estate brokerage are in, like, 30 markets, and then Uber is in 1,000 markets, will be somewhere in the middle, right? Like,
Mm.
kind of. However, Nimbus is a model where we can easily geographically expand, and, like, kind of, even outside US. So we can see ours doing, because it's a kind of a platform play. This is a problem in other continent and other countries. Dobby was very difficult to geographically expand, but with that learning, we kind of designed everything, and with a tremendous advantage of autonomy and autonomous system and everything, we can really expand everywhere. So really don't know whether it would be at the every rural part of the country or not, but if we can build something that homeowners find like not adding any cost to their life, then definitely yes, because it would be just making things easier.
Mm. Mm. Well, Satadru, thanks for taking the time. I really enjoyed talking with you and learning about what you guys are doing.
Same, like, if it is okay, like, I would love to know a little bit more about Jerv. Like, if you can please share a little bit more, Greg.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so you've worked with data, right? I mean, that
Yeah,
was what we did at Data Robot.
that's
The
right.
problem really is that the stack for working with data is very challenging. Most data scientists are working in tools like Jupyter or VS Code or something like that. And those are primarily like local development environments, like they live on your computer. They're not in the cloud. They're super hard to collaborate with. They're fragile. I mean, the first Jupyter notebooks were developed at Berkeley to be used as like scratch pads in the classroom. And somehow that's become the tool of choice for anybody that's interacting with data using code. Because it's easy. You spin it up, it's interactive because, the process of interacting with data is iterative. So it's not like you just write a program and you're done. You have to, draw a histogram and look at the distributions and see the correlations between variables. And what you learn at step one is going to inform what step two is, and so on. So you need that kind of interactive environment. But there hasn't ever really been a tool that gives you that interactivity, but also gives you the stability that you'd need to actually build something that you can deploy. So engineers engineers are constantly complaining to us about receiving these Jupyter notebooks. This data scientist who's a crappy coder, wrote this notebook and now it's on my desk and I have to convert it into something that can actually be deployed and used, and it's a big headache. So they're copy pasting code out of Jupyter into VS Code and then, figuring out the CI/CD stuff and how to deploy it and everything. What we've tried to do at Zerv is to build an environment where you can code in any language you want, Python, R, SQL, whatever, to interact with your data, but in a way that is super stable and collaborative. And then we layered on top of that a very smart coding agent. So with our agent, you can basically just describe what you want, and the agent will build it, run it, and deploy it for you automatically. There are tools like this, like Lovable is really cool for building like the front ends of applications. Cursor is like, and Claude Code and some of these others are good for like engineers, that are building apps, that sort of thing. But working with data is really different. So the Zerv agent can see your entire workspace. It can see your data. It can see all your variable values. It can interpret the charts that it's drawn. It can look at basically anything in your project and use that to build. So like, for example, just earlier today, I did a webinar where we were optimizing the positioning of electric vehicle charging stations
Mm-hmm.
with some synthetic data.
Mm-hmm.
We basically just one-shotted it. We said, hey, this is the problem. We've got, a limited number of charging stations that we can put together. Here's the functional range, simulate some demand data, and then run a linear optimization to figure out where the optimal placement of these charging stations is.
Mhm.
And within 5 minutes, we had the project completed. So the agents have really kind of transformed the way that coding works,
That's right.
and it's remarkable. It really, we're living in the future
Yeah.
uh, with these large language models and how they're impacting the way people do their work.
And it is getting better and better every day. So that is kind of the biggest part. Like, whatever we are using today, that would be the, like, the lowest amount of advancement we'll see in the years to come. Like, kind of, it is just getting rapidly better. So you guys are also doing testing and, like, deployment and all of the other stuff and maintenance. That is been a big part of, like, production grade.
Yep, absolutely. So, you can schedule jobs, you can deploy APIs, you can host Streamlit apps, you can, all those different kinds of deployments. Those live in Serve, and it just works. Or you can take your code and go home. So we don't have any kind of like lock-in type features. We also try not to be evil. So you can always dump all your code out to a notebook or a script and just, to go somewhere else with it if you want to. But we think that having used it, I would never code anywhere else. It's remarkable. It really is impressive what it can
Amazing.
do.
And how did you meet the founders?
Well, so there's three of us. The company's actually based in Ireland. The two other co-founders are both Irish fellers, Jason and Philly. And Philly actually reached out to me on LinkedIn to pick a fight because he was seeing all the Data Robot marketing stuff. Of course, this was after I left Data Robot, but he
Right.
was seeing it and going, I don't buy all this automated machine learning stuff. Like, it doesn't. There's got to be more to it. Like, we don't necessarily believe this hype. Come and talk to us about it and help us understand what's going on. So he really wanted to just kind of, maybe not pick a fight. I'm mostly joking, but he wanted to like have a conversation and understand things. And so I ended up replying to him on LinkedIn. I said, look, you're right. Like there is a lot of hype in the whole automated machine learning space, and it doesn't work for a lot of people and for a lot of cases. And so we got to talking, and I was an advisor for them for a little bit. And then we kind of stumbled upon the product that we knew the market needed. And we joined forces and got going. But
So it was
Jason
cold
and
out.
Philly, what's that?
It was a cold outreach. You did not know them
It
before.
was a completely cold LinkedIn outreach. I get, I don't know why I even responded to that one. I probably get 150 of them a week on LinkedIn, and Philly's for some reason stood out. Of course, Philly's a sales guy. Like, I mean, that's his background is sales. So, I guess he has the ninja level
Yeah.
LinkedIn skills.
I reached out to my co-founder Alex Fantova, like cold in London thing. There was no common connection. But I was a WeWork customer in New York, and I loved. And we all dream that we'll be spending time with customers. And if you work at WeWork, you'll be spending 100% of your time with your customers. You'll be using the same bathroom, restroom, same coffee, like everything, same HVAC. So I wanted to have someone because it is such a customer driven company that the operations customer should be run by someone from WeWork. So that was kind of, and she replied, and then we built Dobby together, and now we're building Nimbus together. Yeah, cold outreach is
Wow.
what it can do.
That's
Amazing.
wild.
Yeah, amazing. And you're the chief product officer.
That's right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And there is some kind of philosophical, it is very very aligned to data robot, just more advanced, and of course the product of time. But philosophically, it's like extremely kind of similar, right?
Well,
No.
I don't know. I guess you could say in some sense it's aligned, but in another sense, it's completely in the opposite direction. Because we started out building for the experts, and Data Robot's message was always kind of like anybody can be a data scientist, and your grandma can build models, that sort of thing. So we took a bit of a different approach on that front. But we are focused on automation. We are, utilizing these large language models to make, the pipelining and analytics and modeling work better. And so, yeah, I guess we've come at it from the other end.
No, you're totally right, because you have Lovable, Vercel, Klein, Cursor, Replit, so many tools. And some of the tools are talking to the software engineer, like Klein is building for software engineers. And that positioning is very critical. So totally agree with you, because Like we can go on and on because we know that part of the data robot. Like, when you send it for the citizen data scientist, they think it's magic and kind of we click a button, get the outcome. But the experts always take that approach that you were talking about, is the iterative approach. Like there is no, like, only the useful model. There is no perfect model. So let's understand the data, understand the data generating process, and like keep building iteratively and deployment and all that stuff. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much for inviting me, Greg. This was incredible to catching up with you. I get your update through Gaurav, our common friend,
Oh,
and time. So thank you so much for, like, it was great talking to you. And yeah, so Razi did this kind of informal get together for data robot people I think in December for Feature
yeah.
by.
I had to miss it. I was in
Yeah,
Ireland when that
it was
happened.
it was so emotional. Oh my God. Like, because it is like seeing people after many years, but we all, like, started at Daterbot 2014. And Daterbot is one of a kind. Like, it's kind of really showed us. You also came from large company, Travelers, Region Bank, and like, so Daterbot was true startup experience for all of us. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no
thank
question.
you once again. And you have a wonderful year ahead.
All right, you too. Good seeing you, Satadru.
Bye.
Bye bye.